The last 5 years. It's a musical. I don't usually watch a lot of musicals. That's not my thing. The last one I watched was God Help the Girl. And that was okay. But after seeing this one, the last 5 years, I can definitely tell the difference between a good musical and a not so good musical. And here the good musical is the last 5 years because it was absolutely great. I think this is what a musical should be, and if more musicals like this, I might actually start watching them, and I might actually enjoy them. The thing I don't like when it comes to a musical is the fact that they just decide to sing because that's what we do, and it's just normal dialogue being sung for no reason. This one was different. This actually had actual songs that the dialogue was based in. I hope I can explain it well. Instead of just singing randomly, just written dialogue, they actually had a song for each scene. It was a well-made song with great lyrics that actually made sense, and they related to what was happening, and they were so well written, and they explained the characters so well, and they explained the setting so well. They rhymed, which is great. It had a good melody, it had a good flow, they sang okay, sometimes it was a bit off, but they sang well, and each song was a song. It wasn't just random melody with random people saying random words. It was actually a song with a structure and that made sense and had a message and had something to say, which I feel like doesn't happen too often. It wasn't like High School Musical is a great example, and the only reason I've seen High School Musical is because I watch it with commentaries and it's hilarious, where they just talk normally and then song time. This, everything was song time, and it actually takes a while to get used to, but once you do, you're into it. It starts off really, really strong with a great song and a great beginning and a great setting, and it just keeps going. The second song was a bit iffy, but then the third one was really, really good, and I was into it. The best part about the songs is that they have a constant theme throughout. Each song has its own message, so it starts one way and it ends the same way. So you feel like, oh, everything that I just listened to makes sense, and everything was thought out, and they weren't just singing random words just for the sake of it. They didn't just grab the script and decide that we're gonna put a melody in the back of this. I think that they used the original. I mean, it says in the beginning of the credits, I think they used the original songs and lyrics. I think the original composer worked on the movie, which is great because it's based on a real musical, and I loved it for it. It's a very simple story. It's about the falling apart of a marriage, and we've seen that a million times, but I liked that it was told in a different way, where it's told in two separate timelines. Basically, you have Kathy and Jamie. Kathy begins her story at the end of their marriage, in the beginning of the movie, and she goes backwards, explaining how they came to be what they are now, which is getting divorced. And Jamie begins from the beginning of the relationship, where he meets Kathy and they fall in love and everything's great. So you can definitely see the differences between each scene and who's singing and why. And Kathy's scenes are always so dark and just depressing and blue. It's that blue tone in movies that means it's serious business. And then Jamie's songs are always upbeat and everything is colorful and orange. It's the orange happy tone in movies. And the contrast is great because there's definitely themes that run along both timelines. And you can definitely, for example, and it's not a spoiler, she takes off her bracelet and her watch at the beginning of the movie, and she leaves them along with her rings. And later on, you can see that he gave them to her as Christmas gifts. And I like that it was into different timelines, I guess, because she takes it off in her song, and he gives it to her in his song. And you can definitely see both sides of the story. What I didn't like was the fact that it was way too one-sided. She's a good person and he's an asshole. Towards the end of the movie, they sort of tried to explain why he was being an asshole. Like, but she didn't do anything. She didn't do anything wrong, and I feel like they both made mistakes, but the movie only reflects his mistakes. The movie never reflected hers. I feel like she was always in the right in the movie, and I wish I would have seen an equilibrium between them. I wish it was more equal. Because, and I won't get into the details, but you can basically guess why their marriage fell apart, because every marriage falls apart for the same reasons. There's always lies and affairs and money and careers. It's the typical cliche of it doesn't work out. And I feel like they showed him being not there all the time, and then her being very hurt by it, but they never show her being incredibly, I guess, putting pressure on him, because that's what he says he feels like. He feels pressure and blah blah blah, and he doesn't have a personal space. That was a great song when he starts singing about personal space, and they never showed that in the movie, so I felt like, why are you crying, dude? You were wrong. She didn't do anything to you. So I feel like maybe in the original, it was a bit better developed, I guess, but that was one thing I didn't like. It was way too one-sided. I wanted to see her do something wrong. I wanted to see her be awful to him, basically, because that's what I was hoping for throughout the entire movie. Oh, it's gonna flip, right? We're gonna find out that he feels this way because she did this, and it never really happened. It was always him. So didn't like that, but the songs really made it up for it, and especially in the beginning, the song that really hooked me in was the third one, I believe it was, and she is telling him that he's never there for her, and he doesn't even say a word. She just sings and sings and sings, and she starts crying, and it's very good. It's a very good beginning of the movie. It's a strong beginning where they hook you in. And my phone just went off. Sorry. And she starts singing that he's just standing there and she's crying and he's not doing anything at all. And that was a very strong moment. It's a very simple thing to say, but she just goes like, I don't understand how you can just stand there and see me cry and not do anything about it. And he just stands there, and she was very good. Anna Kendrick was very good. I don't know the guy's name. I didn't look it up just because I didn't really like him that much. I felt like them together, there wasn't necessarily a lot of chemistry, which is fine because that's not what it is about. It's about them falling apart. But even in the beginning of their relationship, I didn't really feel a lot between them. I don't think he was the best choice for this character. He was very generic and sort of annoying. He was funny at times. There were actually times where I just laughed out loud. It was very comedic at times, especially in the beginning of the relationships when he was trying to be charming for her, but he was a bit annoying. And I feel like that's not the actor's fault. I feel like that's the movie's fault for making him annoying. Like, you just want to punch his face sometimes. And I feel like they just made the character that way. It didn't have to be that way. And you just feel sorry for Anna Kendrick. And my favorite part of the movie is I guess I'll say it, giving a warning here. It might be a spoiler. I don't think it's a spoiler, but if it is, stop watching. I'm just gonna say that it was a great movie, but spoiler. My favorite song was when she was at an audition, and it's like the 5th time that she's done the same. Well, not the 5th time we've seen it, but like the 1,000th time she's done the same song. And you can definitely tell that she's just doing it because that's the song she has. The first time she sings it, it's very emotional and it's beautiful. It's about coming home to your loved one. But now she's just over it. Her marriage isn't going that well and she's just over it and she's singing it, and the people at the audition don't even really care, and she starts singing what's on her mind, and I love it. It was so well done when she goes, "Why is he looking at my shoes? I hate these shoes. Why did I wear these shoes?" And she's like, "I'm wearing the same dress every girl here is wearing. They're not even paying attention to me. Don't read my resume. I lied on my resume." And she just keeps singing what's on her mind as she's singing the song. I love that scene. I think it was very well written. I think it was very well done. And that was my favorite part of the movie. And one thing I really appreciated was the actual ending, which is when they meet. The timelines cross over, and I thought that was beautiful. She's singing the song Goodbye, I guess. Goodbye until I crawl to your door. And she starts singing that after their first night together, I believe, in the morning, and they like each other, and he's leaving, and she doesn't want to say goodbye. She doesn't want him to go, but he has to go, so she's just like, okay, let's not say goodbye. We're gonna see each other soon. And she has butterflies in her stomach, and it's lovely, and it's great. In the meantime, he's singing. His song begins with him packing his bags and writing a letter to his wife saying that he's leaving her. So the two timelines cross, and she sees him in front of the steps, and he sees her, and she's singing a happy song like "Goodbye until I see you again," and then he's singing a sad song like "Goodbye forever," and it was very, very well made, the way the two just crossed. And then he leaves, and it's all beautiful and colorful, and she leaves, and then it gets dark, and then she comes home, and she goes inside, and that's when she finds the letter from the beginning of the movie, and the movie basically starts. I love that it ended with the beginning. I think it was very appropriate. I love the way that they crossed. I was gonna say I love the way they crossed the streams. Never cross the streams. The way that they crossed the timelines. And I've been rambling on for like 13 minutes and 29 seconds, and that's it. It was a great movie. I actually enjoyed it a lot. I'm not into musicals, like I said, but good acting, great songs. The song, I mean, that's what a musical should be, right? It should be the songs. There wasn't one that felt like, oh, this is just filler. There wasn't a moment that felt like, oh, this is just to kill the time. They all felt like they had a purpose and a message, and very well done, very well written, very well sung, I guess. And yeah, last 5 years I actually really enjoyed it. It was a great way to tell a very simple story. A story that we've seen before in movies, in books, in real life. It's something very, very common, the falling apart of a marriage. But they managed to do it in a very creative way, I think. And I know it's an adaptation, but it's still quite original. At least the original material is original, I think. And yeah, last 5 years. It was actually very, very good, so